areas and in the urban areas. Our traditional leaders also want us to deal with communal land and make sure that that land is made available to our people, and we are finalizing our discussions on that. The passage of the expropriation bill during the course of this year will, amongst other things, add to the measures that we need to take to give effect to our 54th National Conference resolution, is to enable expropriation of land without compensation where appropriate. That is what we will be seeking to proceed with, because there is still land hunger in our country. We call on the government to implement the outcomes of the Communal Land Summit to address the tenure security in communal areas, as I said. We call on our public representatives to also make sure that we accelerate the passage of the land redistribution bill to enable the state to acquire agricultural land for distribution to previously disadvantaged people. Millions of our people continue to live in poverty, which has been worsened by the impact of COVID-19 and the rising cost of living. We therefore will continue improving social protection for the poor, including through, amongst other things, social grants, free basic water and electricity, and subsidized housing. Social grants should be protected from inflationary pressures and should be expanded to provide basic incomes as fiscal space allows. Until a permanent basic income support is in place, government must continue to provide the social relief of distress grant of 350. 350 ena la elinyane ke ne ke jwetsa batho ba botshabelo maloba ke re la elinyane empa e fihla ho batho ba 11 million naheng ena ya haeso. Ha o sheba batho ba fumanang thuso ho mmuso wa rona re fihlela lenane le 29 million. Ha o sheba hore South Africa mona re batho ba fihlang ho 60 million kapo 61 million. Almost 50% ya setjhaba sena sa haeso ho na le tsela e mmuso e thusang setjhaba sena. Ntwena a etsahale ka tsebo ya ka dibakeng tse ding Afrika mona. Ke South Africa fela e kgonang ho thusa batho ba bangata hakana setjhabeng sena. A re shapele mmuso wa rona matsoho ka hobane ka nnete e etsa mohlolo. Ntwena a etsahale ditjhabeng tse ngata. On our fourth priority, to improve the delivery of basic service, the collapse, as I was saying, of many municipalities has had a devastating impact on our citizens. Many communities have to deal on a daily basis with many problems. Sewage in the streets, rubbish not collected, poor infrastructure, lack of maintenance. The conference therefore resolved to embark on a more concerted initiative to strengthen government departments, municipalities, and our state-owned enterprises to ensure that they deliver on their mandate. This year, we will implement the framework for professionalizing the public service. Re batla hore sifuna ukuthi kuqashwe abantu abakwazi ukwenza imisebenzi, hayi iphukuphuku abantu abangawazi umsebenzi. Re batla bao ba nang le tsebo. Loko hi kuma vanhu lava nga tirhela South Africa, hi lava ku ri hi tiva ku ri hi kume vanhu lava ta tirhako swinene. Ri songo hira vathu na vathu vane va si dive mishumo, vane va si ve na vudivo. Ri toda vathu vane va do shumela lushaka nga ndila yo fanelaho, vo gudaho, ive vathu vane va diva mishumo yavo. That's why we say we want to professionalize the public service so that we are able to serve our people at the highest level. And when our civil servants serve our people, they must not do so with arrogance. They must not do so almost like they are doing our people a favor. They must not allow our people to stand in long queues for hours and hours. That is why we say we want people who are real professionals, who know what they are doing. We will use the district development model to plan and to execute all this. The provision of basic services such as water and sanitation will receive great priority. And indeed, we are already seeing great movement when it comes to water and sanitation, and we are also seeing movement in the provision of housing. We are also going to come up with new ways of delivering houses, new ways of also providing subsidies to our people. One of those ways will be provide sites that are serviced so that our people can build their own houses. Because many people say, we want to build our own houses. So do not delay by wanting to build houses for us. Allow us, free us to build our own houses, but give us service sites so that we can go ahead and do so. We will build partnerships with the private sector on infrastructure finance. Our fifth priority is to strengthen the fight against crime and corruption and to make sure that indeed our country is secure and stable so that our communities are safe. The ANC will therefore take steps to further strengthen the law enforcement agencies and improve citizen involvement in the urgent work of restoring peace and stability. And we call on our people to partner with the police to create safer and more secure communities through effective and well-resourced community policing forums and community patrollers. Where community policing forum works, we find that the levels of crime go down. Where the community is involved in patrolling, in being the eyes and the ears of the law enforcement agencies, we find that crime does go down. We therefore need all of us to participate. Law enforcement agencies and other criminal justice institutions that were weakened by state capture and corruption are now being rebuilt. We are going to take steps to increase the number of police personnel in line with international norms. Selemong sena se fitileng, re ile ra hira maponesa a 10,000. Jeka ne ke buile ka sona parlamenteng. Ba hirilwe, they are well trained, and they've now been brought into the police service. Ba kenya phafa against the criminals. And we are now also going to see how best we increase the number of our police. The ANC directs government to adopt and implement a national plan of action to deal with crimes such as kidnapping, human trafficking, drug trafficking, gangsterism, illegal mining, extortion of construction sites, and vandalization of public infrastructure. In fact, the Minister of Police and myself have clearly directed the Commissioner of Police to set up units, specialized units, that are going to be focusing on these areas. And those units are being set up, and the specialization is beginning to bear really good fruit, and we want that to continue. We will leave no room for criminals. We will not allow criminals to run havoc in our country. We will not allow them space. We are now going to take them on, head to head, toe to toe. If you are criminals, we are coming after you, because we cannot allow South Africa to be a lawless country. Ke khale re bona ditsotsi di ntse di matha hohle hohle ba senya, nako eo e fedile, e tlile ya fela, re tla le kenya tseleng kapo re tla le kenya tronkong. We must intensify the struggle to end violence against women and children. This means that we must fully implement the National Strategic Plan. We will continue our work to focus to prevent gender-based violence through various programs that involve men in tackling patriarchal attitudes and toxic masculinity. Re bontate ba mona South Africa, a re ke re qete ntwena ya ho lwantshana le bomme le banana, a re emise letsoho la hao against motho wa mofumahadi kapo le ngwanyana. It is us men who need to take steps to stop gender-based violence. And we are now calling on the men of South Africa that yes, we need to have our men's dialogues where we will sit and talk amongst ourselves and try to get to the depth of this story. Hobaneng re tshwara ka tsela empi e kgopo hakana against the women of our country. We must increase the number of sexual offences courts. The court tsena tse sebedisang ka gender-based violence, re batla re di ate. We must ensure all police stations are adequately equipped to deal with gender-based violence. And the women of our country, and indeed we agree, want more harsher sentences to be imposed on those who perpetrate gender-based violence and femicide against the women of our country, and that there must be stricter bail conditions for suspects or no bail at all. That is what the women of our country are saying. We must ensure that government departments spend their budgeted amounts when it comes to the eradication of gender-based violence. We commend the ANC Women's League, the civil society, and social movements who are leading the campaign against gender-based violence. They have raised this matter prominently, and this matter is being addressed as much as we possibly can. The ANC reaffirms its long-standing principle that corruption is the enemy of the people and is committed to taking a tougher stance against corruption. Because yes, we view corruption as being counter-revolutionary. Any ANC member implicated or involved in corrupt activities will be dealt with and must be dealt with according to the ANC rules and policies, and must also face the full might of the law. There should be no exceptions. To enhance the integrity of the organization, the 55th Conference has reaffirmed the step-aside guidelines and resolved to strengthen the Integrity Commission and the ANC disciplinary structures and processes. Calls for a speedy implementation of the Zondo Commission of Inquiry on State Capture. Those implicated need to face the full might of the law, and the ANC will implement those recommendations that relate to our organization and those who have also been implicated amongst us. To prevent state capture from ever taking place again, we are determined that there should be more coordination between various law enforcement and anti-corruption institutions. The sixth priority is about building a better Africa and a better world. To enhance South Africa's development and transformation, we will continue to work with our counterparts elsewhere and on the continent by ensuring that the African Union has the necessary capacity to drive unity, development, and peace on our continent, and to drive the growth, diversification, and development of the African economies. We must ensure that the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is effectively implemented. We need to work together with our partners across the continent to realize the opportunities that this treaty has to offer. Our foreign policy stance is informed by the understanding that multilateralism and respect for international law are the key to the global political and economic stability of the world. South Africa continues to advocate for reforms that will ensure that the underrepresentation of our continent in the UN system is properly addressed, and that our continent has a voice at the UN level, and that the global South is strengthened in the multilateral system. We need to support the revitalization of the non-aligned movement. The BRICS group of countries continues to play a critical role in setting global developmental agenda and promoting financial stability. This year, South Africa will have the honor and the privilege to be chair of BRICS in 2023. South Africa will be chair of BRICS, which brings together China, Brazil, India, and Russia. And we are going to have a summit here in South Africa where they will all come and honor us with our presence, with their presence. And we want that moment to be a special moment also, not only to South Africa, but to our continent as well, as we will seek to advance the African agenda at the BRICS platform. We will, of course, want to bring together other countries that also support the developmental agenda of our continent. Having outlined our priority actions for 2023, we now must turn to the tasks of the ANC in the year ahead. Firstly, we will implement the roadmap towards Vision 2032. The conference has adopted this vision to guide the renewal and the rebuilding just on paper. Hi lava ku ri loko hi ri na branch ya ANC, iva branch leyi hanyako. It must be a branch that is alive, a branch that is connected with the issues that affect our communities. It must be a branch that holds its regular meetings. It must not be a branch that holds meetings when we elect people for positions or when we go to the provincial or national elections. There are branches that just exist for that. This time round, with our renewal process, we say we want branches of the ANC to be alive, to be brimming with activity, to be well connected to the lives of our people. The restoration of the vibrant organizational life of our branches is an urgent and vital task for our movement. We must build dynamic ANC branches that are actively involved in the life of communities. This includes participation in ward committees, promoting safer communities, and also engaging in law enforcement. To strengthen our branches, ntwane ya hore hona le batho ba ema monyakong ba sitisa ba bang hore ba join ANC re batlo re fele o mon lo mong o na le tokelo ya hore abe setho sa African National Congress ho ska ba le batho ba no ba tla reng ha ba tlo joina ANC o joina nna pele wena a se wena Jesu Kriste a re tle ho ANC ka wena re tlela ho ANC ka borona re batla hore ntho eno e fele. We will build on progress that we have made on the new membership system, which has improved our ability to restructure our organization. Our third task is to build a new cadre that the members of the ANC, that they have certain responsibilities. We want them to adhere to the highest standards of organizational discipline and revolutionary morality. Our cadreship must reflect South African society. We must be able to attract progressive people from all classes, from all racial groups, from all faiths and cultures. While building and expanding our mass membership, we should also ensure that we build quality cadreship, a cadreship that is well-trained, cadreship that will know that, yes, they must participate in the activities of the ANC and be able to engage in the political education that is offered through the O.R. Tambo School of Leadership. Our fourth task is to rebuild our leagues. The Veterans League, the Women's League, the Youth League, each have critical roles to play in enabling the ANC to serve the people of our country. The Women's League has been active in championing the interests of women, while the Veterans League has added much value to the program to renew and to rebuild our movement. The Youth League, it has the capacity and the ability to mobilize young people, particularly as we go towards the 24 elections, where they will be able to get as many young people as possible to register. The leagues need to have functional structures, dynamic programs, and be able to move towards their own conferences and elect their own leaders. So we are looking forward to this year as the year when our leagues will come out of intensive care and go and elect their own leaders so that they can operate effectively on their own. The fifth task that we have is that we must strengthen the alliance. The 55th conference stressed the strategic and significant role of the alliance and the broad mass democratic movement in terms of the role they have played in our struggle for liberation, and that we all have a role to play to continue to transform South Africa into a national democratic society. The alliance constituted by the ANC, COSATU, and the South African Communist Party must now confront new strategic questions about relevance, renewal, and also, yes, the reconfiguration of the alliance. Now, despite many discussions on the reconfiguration, this matter has not received the adequate attention that we all need to give it. We therefore need to make sure that we give it the adequate attention and ensure that we address this matter to finality. An economic and energy alliance summit should be convened to develop a unified program on the most effective way to use all policy instruments available to drive inclusive growth and transformation. The ANC and the alliance and its alliance partners must act together in a decisive and principled manner to advance to a more inclusive, equitable, and sustainable future for our country. Our sixth task as the ANC is to register large numbers of citizens, especially young people, for the 2024 elections. Now, this is a task that all of us seated here today, members, supporters, and guests and all, we need to make sure that we register as many people as possible for the forthcoming elections. Voter participation has been going down over the years. We now need to upgrade it. And unless we reverse this trend, we will have great difficulty as the African National Congress of ensuring that our majority is retained. Our seventh task is to strengthen governance and advance transformation. To improve governance, the ANC will strengthen its internal mechanisms of monitoring and implementation of policies and ensure accountability work is done in government. Among other things, all public representatives and members of various executives, be it at provincial or national level, will have to report annually against key performance areas. Haiba, obeiwe stulong, and how do this stulong say no? Mo tlameileng gore o sebeletse setšhaba, wena o isitse boroko, o tla ntshiwa setulong seno. Re batla batho ba tla sebeletsang setšhaba. ANC jwale e tla ba e re sheba kaofela, rona ba beilweng ditulong, go tloa ho presidente o ya tlase kwana, la o le masepaleng. Haeba wena o isitse botswa le boroko le hore o etsa dintho tse tswileng ka tseleng, o tla ntshiwa setulong. Ke batla hore ntho eo e hlake hantle, mang le mang a utlwise hantle. Conference resolved that, yes, we should deploy people on merit. This is an important process of our renewal program to ensure that we have people who are fit for purpose. In recent years, we have had to deal with the issue of unstable coalitions in local government, where we were combined with other parties to govern largely our municipalities, and we have found that those coalitions are unstable. The ANC and our alliance partners need to develop a more coherent approach to coalitions. This approach must safeguard socio-economic transformation and sustainable development, service delivery, accountability, and active citizen participation. Coalitions must not be about the sharing of spoils and positions. They must be about serving the interests of our people. Our eighth task is to ensure effective communication and social mobilization. The ANC needs to communicate its policies, its achievements, and challenges more effectively and consistently. Every ANC member, leader, and deployee must understand that they are communicators who, through their words and actions, help to shape public perceptions about the movement. Re batla ntwena ya hore o mong le mong ha bua ka ANC a be a ipuela tsa hae fela tse tswileng tseleng. E ka ba ka Twitter, e ka ba ka Facebook. Re batla hore kaofela ha re bua ka ANC, re be re bua ka ANC ka molaetsa o le mong, laeba re bua ka melomo e fapakaneng. Ho na le bao ba ratang hore ba pharowe ba ipueletsa bona fela. Re fumane hore ba ntse ba attack-a ba bang mokgatlong. Re batla hore ntweno e fele. Re batla hore ha re bua, re bue hantle tse etswang ke ANC. Re tla ba re shebile rona kaofela hore re bua jwang na. The ANC must rebuild international solidarity networks. We must also intensify engagement with our former liberation movements in Southern Africa, and we continue to pledge solidarity with the people of Palestine for freedom, independence, justice, and equality. The ANC reiterates the call for the right of self-determination of the people of Western Sahara, and we will continue to strengthen the long and traditional bonds that we as the ANC have with the Polisario Front, Yabatuba Western Sahara. We also support the calls for the lifting of punitive and unfair sanctions against Zimbabwe, against Venezuela, against Cuba, against Iran and Syria, as well as elsewhere in the world. Sanctions that have been imposed unilaterally and unjustifiably, causing immense suffering and hardships to ordinary citizens of those countries. I have often said, for the sanctions that are imposed